PETA. The headline says this: experimenters fed puppies' heads to infected flies. But that's not all Fauci's NIH funded. So Fauci, you know, our purveyor of all our health in the last 2 years, his group that gets funded through taxes taken from us gave money to these labs to do tests where they put puppies in these boxes or whatever with their heads with these infected flies flying around them.
Eesh.
This is the kind of stuff this guy's doing. So this guy that people clambered to, even Disney, National Geographic made a whole documentary about him and how he's such a hero. But yet, is he really a hero when you find out that he's been feeding puppies' heads to these infected flies in experiments in labs?
Good grief.
But did people who were easily influenced to follow every word he said, did they go, holy, what? Wait a minute. He did what? Yeah. I'm not on that guy's side. No, forget it. I'm not. No, they didn't. Just overlook stuff like this, see? And that goes back to, oh, I heard a beep.
Might have been me.
Or maybe they're listening to us. I said keywords. I said certain keywords.
You got to be careful, man.
You do. Got to watch your words.
How you feel about a situation or a circumstance.
It's true. So anyway, that, of course, to me, just amplified what I already knew about him and about what they were doing. So, you know, you try to tell people about it, and you're like, hey, you know that guy that you're listening to, this is what he did with the puppies. And what do you do? I mean, what do you do with it? If you're confronted with that and you're all in for following everything he says to do, and then you find out his puppygate situation, what do you do? Do you abandon him? You should. Absolutely. That should be a wake-up call and go, I'm out. But people get so invested they don't. And you know, these guys are, you know, I'm telling you the other day I was watching Dallas Buyers Club again. I only watched it once before, but it was just, I was by myself and turned it on, and I mean, he's represented in that movie, you know. Mm-hmm. When there's the FDA and there's the CDC, and the CDC represented that guy and the F-word guy and all that at that time. They were keeping the drugs that were affordable and effective out because they didn't approve them. And the only reason that the FDA doesn't approve, now the FDA in theory is good. It's like, well, we're the central hub for anything that's put out there that's consumable, and we need to test it and make sure that it is consumable and doesn't hurt anyone. That's a good in theory, but it's easily corrupted because politics. You automatically get people saying, well, we can manufacture a thing that we can then develop a drug to combat, and it can only be approved by this governing body, and we're all kicking back money to everybody. So the FDA is going to get some, the CDC is going to get some, the drug company is going to get some, all these things are going to get some. Meanwhile, we're getting it. We're the ones that are the guinea pig or the worm, like you said, in all of it. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get on a tangent.
No, I like it. I like talking. I like these conversations.
Yeah, man.
Like these open dialogues.
Well, hopefully, again, like with Twitter wants you to argue in the worst way possible. They don't want you to be opened up. Like, oh, hey, did you ever consider that this might be an option to this subject or argument? They're not like that. And I think, you know, that's what I was always into. I always loved to debate, and not debate I mean, even the word debate today has a different meaning to it.
Right.
Debate means I'm not going to debate you about this. That's not debating. That's just scoffing and arguing and fighting. But that's not what, debate team was. Debate was a respectable conversation between two sides that had differing views on a subject or on the options of a subject. So it's like, well, yeah, I hear you. Have you considered this though? And when you handle it in that respect, people, well, and I'll just go. There was another time when I was working in a high school. I was hired to build a set, teach the kids how to build a set for this musical they were doing, and I was there a while. And one day it was right after lunch, and we were getting started in the auditorium, and the intercom comes on, and the principal says, "Students, please rise and face the flag for the reciting of the pledge." And I stopped, and I looked around, and all these kids had all stopped like robots and had their hand over their heart, and they were all looking at the flag. Just wherever they were, they just stopped. And I was looking around going, there's something really, really weird about this.
It's because you're not a patriot, Jeff.
That's right. That's right. No patriot over here.
Just kidding.
So, real patriotism is questioning your government. False patriotism is doing whatever your government says. And but anyway, so I'd already done some research on the Pledge of Allegiance, and the Pledge of Allegiance was written by this fellow named Francis Bellamy. He was a minister in Boston, but he was also a socialist communist. And he was promoting socialism and communism from the pulpit, so they removed him. They said, you can't preach that here. You can't be spreading that. So he went to work for this flag company, and they wanted to put an American flag in every school across America. And this was before the government took control of schools. So each school was independently run, as it should have always been. And I don't know if you know this, but most schools all took place in the church. So if there was a church building, that's also where school was.
Mm-hmm.
And the communities took care of each other. Not you're forced to send your kids to a building with people who have been chosen by a board that you can't get to, and they're gonna be your, as MSNBC would say, your kids aren't your kids anymore. They're our kids too. No, no. So anyway, the way to, because patriotism has always been either patriotism, false patriotism, nationalism, socialism. Those are all facets that people use to garner sympathy or support. And it goes back to wrestling, right? One of the coolest things, or one of the biggest ways to get a crowd on your side, is to stick a Russian or an Iranian or someone that's not American up there as the bad guy. I mean, they used to have Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, and the Iron Sheik would always get up and, and what it was, they were a tag team, so they would get up, and the announcer would be like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Nikolai Volkov requests that you all rise for his singing of the Russian national anthem."
And everyone's like, boo.
Oh yeah, man, because this was during the Cold War, right? This is during the Cold War, and Nikolai would get up and I don't know the words, but oh yeah, dude, it was just lit with the heat from the audience. And then the Iron Sheik, he would get up right after he would right after Nikolai Volkov was finished, he would get the microphone and say, "Russia #1, Iran #1, USA."
Oh man,
dude.
And the audience was like, you got to take them out. Who did they send out? Who did they send out?
They sent out Hulk Hogan. Who do you think?
Hulk
the
Hogan,
real American.
I mean, I'm telling you. Or Sergeant Slaughter.
We had people like, they had Sergeant Slaughter. They had Corporal Kirshner. They had the U.S. Express, which was Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. They had, if you can pit America against anybody that's not American, that's money. That's money. And the Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he was another. He was always the 2x4 guy.
Oh yeah,
he carried the American flag in the 2x4.
He was awesome.
So when I was a kid, I mean, he was fighting the Iron Sheik. They were like arch enemies, right? You got America, you got Iran. Well, then I saw in the newspaper that Hacksaw Jim Duggan had been pulled over. His car was pulled over. He was speeding. He got arrested because he had marijuana in his car. But not only did he have marijuana in his car, the Iron Sheik was also in his car smoking doobs with him.
Oh my gosh.
Together, hanging out in a car, smoking it up. Just smoking it up, just laughing it up.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan was now the enemy.
What am I supposed to do with that as a kid? I go, hold up, hold up. They were just fighting. They just had a flag match, man. How can they be dancing with Mary Jane on I-75 doing 175?
Really fast.
Really fast. Going 175 miles an hour. So yeah, it's always been, national patriotism, nationalism, that sort of thing, because the crowd would always chant USA at them when they did those things. USA, USA.
It just makes you think, are the people in power really smart?
For sure.
Or are we just really dumb? The people that aren't in power?
It's both.
Oh man.
Well, you know what the noble lie is? Have you ever heard of the noble lie?
I have not.
Oh man. Everybody should know what the noble lie is. And just to be sure, I'm going to look it up real fast. The noble lie was coined by Socrates. Okay. The noble lie is that you're told something by people of authority, people who are legit, people who you look up to, people that you're that have been elected, all these things, right? This is something that's told to you through the media or whatever, and you believe it because you don't have any options. How can you, I'm supposed to believe this because the people who are respected for telling me about things I should know about are telling me. Mm-hmm. Well, then it turns out that thing wasn't true. Like that thing wasn't real. It wasn't true. But then they come back and say, well, here's the thing. We had to tell you this but for your own good. It wasn't real. It was a lie, but we had to do it so that it was for your own good. That's what the noble lie is.
Oh, I got you. I feel like I've known that, but I just didn't know it was called that.
Well, there are things that what's a thing that we were told that ended up being not true, that was like a noble lie. Well, you could look at the Pilgrims, probably. That could be a noble lie for sure. You can look back. Whew. Well, and it's really interesting about Thanksgiving, and we have a tendency to go off on different veins here.
Monkey brains. Yeah, we monkey brain conversations for show.
That's what we should name
I'll tell you this. Yeah, right? Well, this conversation in general is like news talk radio.
It is, isn't it?
Good grief. You could cut the tension in the air with a
This is more like our conversations usually, though.
Right. What were you going to say?
No, the thing about Thanksgiving is that people always jump. I see people get all frustrated and bent out of shape when Thanksgiving rolls around, and they'll throw barbs out there like, yeah, let's celebrate when the white man came over and ran the Native Americans out of their land and killed them and everything. And that's what we're blah, 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 blah. And I stop and go, you do realize that that's not what Thanksgiving is about now. That's not what we're celebrating at all. You do realize that. And of course they say no, because that's what they've been taught. It's like, no, Thanksgiving actually that we observe today was something that Abraham Lincoln started. Abraham Lincoln said that the third Thursday of every November, we would honor our Creator. That's what Thanksgiving is in the modern sense. It has nothing to do with pilgrims. It has nothing to do with any of that.
Right.
The people who make it that way are just people who are, you know, shilling paper turkeys and things like that down on the street corner. But it has nothing to do with that.
What's your favorite holiday? What's your favorite holiday, Jeff?
Arbor Day. Because I like Fast Eddie's Casino. Come on, you know what Fast Eddie's Casino is on Arbor Day?
I was going to say, guess what my favorite holiday is?
What?
Valentine's Day.
Aww.
It gives everybody an excuse to love somebody for a day, at least. If you don't do it for the whole year, you can at least be like, man, I love you, dude. Happy Valentine's Day.
We don't do Valentine's Day around here.
Oh, we totally do over here.
That's cool.
I've always gone all in, man, because I'm like, man, what a good excuse. There's a good excuse. And people turn it into like, oh, I'm going to be lonely and da-da-da-da. You know what? Or you know, that's where they're going. That's where a lot of people go with it. And I'm like, you know what? I just want you to know Happy Valentine's Day, because I think it's a great reason.
It goes right back around to what we were talking about. People can't be the thing you are, so they want to make sure that you can't be that either. Instead of changing their world, and I know it's not, I mean, you know, it's not easy to change your world sometimes. I get that. But it's like, it's bitterness. I mean, you can go back to Twitter. Twitter could be bitter, you know, and it promotes bitterness. So if I can't have something, I'm going to be bitter for someone who does have that thing that I can't have. Well, so I'm going to crap on them.
I just like to tell you, Jeff, that on Valentine's Day, I do my best to tell everyone they are loved.
I did my best.
I'm telling you.
That's cool. We don't usually do it just because I mean, it's not that we're protesting anything about Valentine's Day. Although my oldest son was like, he goes, hey, you know what happened on Valentine's Day, right?
Oh, here we go.
And he goes through the whole massacre and everything.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I love it. He's so funny like that.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like, hey, you know what Valentine's Day is? But
I like to think of Valentine's Day in or around 1990 for me is where it really started.
Okay.
Because you had to go to the store and get your Valentine's cards, and I got one for everybody.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna leave anybody out of this. And so any actual it's also terrible. Any actual truth behind holidays or Valentine's Day, I'm like, nope. Valentine's Day to me is what I knew of it in 1990 when I was 5 years old. Oh, I'm aging myself. And that's how I'm like,
that's great, man.
I wish I could buy billions of Valentine's Day, Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq Valentine's Day cards.
There you go.
And be like, because that was a package of Valentine's Day cards that I got. Yeah. I wish I still had the packaging. I feel like I do somewhere. But that's my favorite holiday.
You're like a basketball Valentine. You dunked on my heart.
Oh, man. Gonna give me a Shaq heart attack.
You shot the 3 points of love in my hoop.
Are you looking these up or something?
No, I'm just making them up.
These are great. See?
That last one sounded dirty. I better retract that one. We should do that. We should write our own Valentine's cards, man. Let's do it.
Hey, you know, and people have always said too, holidays are just built for corporate America and the selling of cards and Hallmark, created by, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care, because Valentine's Day, everybody, you know, I mean, you just get to go out to dinner or something, make dinner, put on some Celine Dion greatest hits, sprinkle some rose petals around. I don't know.
You love me.
I don't even know what people do on Valentine's Day. I don't care, because I
we
believe in the spirit of it.
We've never really done anything on Valentine's Day. It's just not one of those things we ever observed. Again, you know, we do a lot for Christmas and everything, and then we have shows going on. So it's just one of those things. It's like we don't put a lot of emphasis on it.
Because you're tired. It's like having a birthday.
It kind of is.
Just after New Year's.
It is. It is.
We partied so hard on New Year's, and now we got to party for this guy. Jimmy Crickets.
That's right. So this year, though, it was really interesting. The boys, they wanted the Riddler action figure from the movie, from the Batman movie. So I'd ordered them from Target. Well, they arrived on Valentine's Day. And we didn't get Valentine's or anything like that. And they got here, and I was like, look what came in. I took them both. They each got one. I was like, there you go. Happy Valentine's. I just said that, you know, just being goofy.
Oh, see, you already have it in you.
I know.
You already have the holiday in you, man.
Well, then, like, I got myself one too, but it was the Batman. So they both got the Riddler, and I got Batman in that thing. Well, then the youngest comes to me and goes, hey, did you get Mom anything? And I said, what do you mean? Because it's Valentine's and all. And I said, dude, she knows we don't do Valentine's. She didn't get me anything either. It's all fine. And he was like, ugh. He goes, do you not love her?
Yeah, see? Bad example. You set a bad example for Valentine's Day, Jeff.
And I said, of course I love her. She knows that. I know that. Well, then it's just like, he came back later and he goes, you're not going to get a card or anything?
Nothing.
And he's 12, he's almost 12. He's like, seriously, you're not going to get a card or anything? And I said, dude, what is up with this? What's your deal? So then later I was like, I better get her something, man. So I went, I got some chocolate, and I got
oh my gosh, you're telling, come on.
I know.
Man, you could have drawn 12 roses in a heart. And like, I mean,
I got her a card, and I got her these chocolates, and I got her these little footy house shoe things that have Hedwig, the owl from Harry Potter, on them. And I came home, and she was sitting back in our bedroom on her couch she has, and I said, just go with it. Whatever I do, just go with it. So she's like, okay. So I said, Neo, come here. And then he came in the room, and I said, Happy Valentine's Day, hon. And she was like, oh, for me? Oh, this is, she just really went with it. And then he's standing in the hallway, and then I turned around and said, did I do okay? He just looked at me, and he just threw his arms around me and buried his head in my chest.
Oh my gosh. This is the greatest Valentine's Day story of all time. And you've been denying us this, even yourself?
I know.
Jeff,
I know.
This is what I'm talking about. And that's
a good story.
Exhibit A, why Valentine's Day is the greatest holiday of the year.
See, it was a good enough story for me to be able to retell. So,
see, man, I feel like my work here is done.
Work is done. I said Arbor Day, Fast Eddie's Casino, because that's from Viva La Bam.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Viva La Bam that much.
Viva La Bam was fun, man. That was one of my favorite episodes.
I think that's where I first realized that reality TV was scripted.
Yeah, that one was heavily scripted.
And that's where I realized it, though. I was like, wait a minute. And that's actually when I lost interest in it. As I was like, because I wanted to believe that it was real. And then I realized it was not. And then I realized none of it is.
Stuff just randomly happened, and there happened to be a camera there to catch it.
Well, you also think money, too. Like, you got money to buy a Humvee. You can have a derby in your backyard.
Yeah.
Like,
again,
awesome.
The noble lie. Were you entertained by it? Were you
At first, I
entertained
was. I was
believing
entertained.
it was real?
I was yeah. I was more entertained knowing that, man, this is a life that I could have.
Right.
And then when I realized that it was all made up by MTV, I was like, ugh. Took the fun away from it, guys.
Well, it's just like the weather reporters when there's hurricanes and stuff that are coming, and they're all out on the beach and or out they're holding onto their hat and they're leaning and they've got their microphones and this is just unsafe out here. And then in the background you got like two dudes in flip-flops and shorts with their hands in their pockets just strolling along, walking in the background. That's the noble lie, right? We're entertained by hurricanes because people will tune in and watch, I mean, hours and hours of hurricane footage or leading up to it or snowstorms and stuff. And it's a huge deal. But is it? It's just entertainment for us, right?
Golly, if these conversations catch on, I don't want to read the comments.
We won't read the comments. We'll do like Dave Chappelle. Don't read the comments.
Jeez. But you,
We'll just
I
keep
know
talking.
you, I guess. But I know you like to watch that train wreck.
Sometimes I don't because I want to swerve into it.
Sheesh.
And I can't do that. I can't do that. Hey man, we just, we're just talking.
Just two guys talking. Monkey
just two guys
brain.
talking. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
I think the wild thing is I never thought, like, if you told me in high school that I would have fear one day about an opinion, I'd be like, get out of here.
Right.
Get
Sticks
out
and
of here.
stones, right? Sticks and stones.
And then nowadays I'm like, man, is it wrong that I think this way? Am I the enemy here?
Right.
Am I the problem? Just because I think insulin should be, I don't think it should be free, but it shouldn't be $2,300 a month.
No.
But am I the enemy for thinking that? Like that's where I start getting crazy. Is I'm like, oh man, I hope I'm not wrong in this. Because I believe, man. I believe that somebody creates that stuff. A scientist, somebody bottles it. Some company bottles it or puts it in the little pens.
Yeah, absolutely.
People make the syringes. Those are delivered. There's a lot that goes into that. I don't think $2,300 a head should have to cover that, but
right.
But I think people should get paid for their work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then again, that's where I'm like, man, I hope that I don't get rocks thrown at me because I think that way.
Yeah,
and that's a weird thing. Again, if you told me in high school that you'd be afraid about having an opinion,
right,
I'd have been like, no way.
Yeah. Well, I like Facebook, and I hate Facebook too. I mean, I'm still on it, but I hate it. It's the same sort of thing as Twitter. It's just not as, I think it's probably more manageable with Facebook. It's not as hate driven as Twitter is. But still, I won't leave. If I post anything anymore, I only leave it up for maybe 24 hours, if that long. And then I delete it because people are, I mean, you're taught to take things all wrong. That's what we're taught anymore. We're not, if everybody had a sense of humor, things would be a lot easier, but they're taught to not have a sense of humor anymore. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That was a thing we lived that. Yeah. But now it's like, it's the opposite. Words can break my bones. And I think it was the mentality with that saying is that I can get over these things easy.
Right.
You can say things to me, but I'm going to absorb it and use it how I will. But we're offended by everything anymore. It's just like, be offended by everything. I don't know. Looking back on Chris, I hate to look back again, but Will Smith and Chris Rock, dude, it was a lame joke. Anyway, who in the world knows what G.I. Jane is anymore?
Whoa. Whoa. I mean,
see, I'm going to get canceled over that one.
I mean, yeah, you should be. I'm kidding, Jeff. Kind of.
It's true. I never saw G.I. Jane. Never saw it.
I did.
I just think it's one of those, it was one of those jokes that was like, dude, does it really have the mass appeal that you think it did? Or I didn't understand the joke. I understand it was about hair and blah, blah, blah. But really, I mean, that's where you're going to go with that? That's the joke you're going to tell? Whoa. Was that really worth?
Well, and I think that's where my mindset is with all of it now is like, here's where I get canceled.
Hi there, we just want to say thanks for listening to Hump Day Conversations with Jeff and Linds. We really appreciate it. We want to give a super good shout out to Jacob Boyd with Post Retro for his invaluable guidance as we put this thing together. Go listen to his super swell podcast, Talking Indies in My Undies, wherever you find podcasts. We also want to give an extra super duper shout out to our founding Patreon patron, John Thomas Oakes. JT is part of the We Feel You tier, and by being so, we'll get this shout out as well as written mentions in our video versions and social medias, and we will read and respond to his letter email once per month in a special extra episode. You can find JT every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on John Brannion's Starving Comics Quarantine Show on YouTube. We also want to welcome Katie Berheim from South Dakota to the Hump Club. Katie is part of the We Hear You tier, and by being so, she's going to get this shout out plus written shout outs on all our social media outlets. If you'd like to join JT and Katie in the Hump Club, go visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/HumpDC. That's HUMPDC. Don't forget the new episode of our little show drops every Wednesday at 12:12 a.m. on Spotify and iTunes, and at 12:12 p.m. on YouTube, with one or both of us in a live chat as it premieres on the Daydreamer Pictures channel. We hope we can help you get over Hump Day with some laughs and whatnot. Be sure to slap the like buttons wherever and whenever possible, share and subscribe.